Finally, William Clancy Thompson has lived in the region since 1997 and served 10 years as the Executive Director of the Child Advocacy Commission of the Lower Cape Fear. Other career positions include being chair of the Drama and Speech Department of Transylvania College in Lexington, Kentucky, and producer at WQED Public Television in Pittsburgh. While the majority of his experience has been with key leadership positions, he has also spent considerable time in the schools, including a year as a high school teacher and 4 years as an artist in resident working with elementary and middle school children. Candidates, thank you so much for being here tonight and welcome.
For allegedly employing a neighborhood school plan that hinders diversity within individual schools. With recent redistricting, New Hanover County is enforcing a similar neighborhood school plan under which some schools maintain mostly all white or all minority student populations. Parsley Elementary, for example, has a student population that is 97% white and only 3% minority. Question, do you agree that New Hanover County should continue enforcing neighborhood schools defined here as a districting plan that places students in the school nearest their homes? Please explain why you agree or disagree.
Mr. Thompson.
I think busing is a red herring in New Hanover County. 95% of the kids are bused. I think the issue here is this board is being elected as New Hanover County School Board, which is a community of a whole. And research shows us the schools should reflect the economic profile of the community in which they reside. Research, 20, 30 years of research shows that children that are grouped together in poverty, if they're more than 50% poverty, there's a 24% chance that they're going to be a failing school. So why in the world would a school board design a school system where some schools have 95% poverty and 92% poverty? That destines those children to fail. On a larger sense, this is a moral and civil rights issue. As Phil was saying, children learn from each other, and they're going to learn to navigate the kind of world that we are entering, a world where we are working with people globally, constantly. And we have to be able to listen to, feel for, and work conveniently and comfortably with people of all backgrounds.
It can be argued that in this community, the school system is a key component to economic development. What initiatives need to be in place or need to be reinforced that are already in place to produce graduates who are stronger in science, technology, engineering, and math, and therefore better prepared for a sophisticated 21st century workforce?
Mr. Thompson.
I think we live in a world that saturation is the common element. Kids are just overwhelmed by so much information they don't know where to begin. We have to break through that with excellent teachers. In fact, these kids live in two worlds. They live in the world of their iPod where they're playing all the time, then they go into class and they're expected to sit there and listen and listen and listen. We have to break through them. We have to make connections between the technology that we want to embrace, the technology that's bursting throughout our world, and the schools that are not really able to take hold of that technology and apply it to children's learning. I think once we do that, the idea that we can use our roads to generate solar power, we need to think outside the box. And we need to have our children think outside the box too and realize that every one of them can be an entrepreneur. In our state, 150,000 of us are entrepreneurs, and we have companies that are under 19 employees. They can take charge of their lives, and if we inspire them to do that, learning, technology, science will follow.
She says research shows that early brain development, especially in the first 3 years of life, is shaped by home and community environments. Supportive, nurturing families and caregivers are critical in laying the foundation for a child's education. What do you see as the best way to help prepare the youngest children in New Hanover County for success in school?
Mr. Thompson.
We've had an amazing explosion in knowledge about early brain development. And so we have a knowledge base. Now we must market that knowledge. It's like we learned that cigarettes kill. and we went home and kids say, hey, Mom and Dad, you can't be smoking, you're going to die from it. We need to get every community partner together. We have Smart Start, we have Head Start, we have nonprofit agencies all over this community that we can yoke together and get into the homes and help these mothers. We can work through barbershops and beauty parlors so we can say the early years, that first year is the year when language arts explode in a child's mind, and the foundation for all subsequent cognitive learning is established there. And so by the age of 4, that child's foundation for learning is in place. We have to assure that, and we can do that by partnering with business and also partnering with community not-for-profit agencies to get into those homes, help those moms work interactively, multisensorily with those children.
Now let's go to our first audience question. Why don't you go ahead and tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is Casey McCreary, and I'm from New Hanover County.
Thank you, Casey. And what question would you like to pose to the candidates?
I would like to thank all the candidates. I would like to remind us what Colin Powell's wife said today when she said the Messiah greeting is, how are the children? And I think that's the most important thing. My question is, given the rate of dropout in high school, as much as 62% for African Americans, 34% for Caucasians, what is it that you have done on the board to ameliorate that, or what do you plan to do if you get in? Thank you.
Mr. Thompson.
I would agree. I think what we have to do, as we said before, start with early childhood, not start with kindergarten, start with birth, provide ways to give the structure for later learning come in place. Once a child, though, is in 2nd or 3rd grade and failing, then we need to be aggressive in our intervention. We have to intervene in a way that cuts through the kids' facade and gets down to where they're at. Being an artist in schools, I often work with children in that way, and I found sometimes you can connect with them in poetry. You can connect with them in ways and find a soft spot. Talk to me about soccer. Tell me about why you love it. You get them to think about it and try to put that into words. And they then have a success. Students have to build on successes, and our dropout students are ones that have not had successes. Consequently, they feel that life has nothing in store for them and they bail.
This is being sponsored by the Cape Fear Economic Development Council, so I have a question that involves the economics of running a school system, the fiscal responsibility of the board members and the candidates hoping to be board members. It's my understanding that we have capacity in certain middle schools within our county that sits empty while we put temporary classrooms at other locations at a great expense to the county, simply to avoid having to face the parents about the busing issue. Now, this is just hard economic decisions that need to be made about using the facilities that we currently have. I'd like both the candidates and the existing school board members to address the waste of funds.
Mr. Thompson.
The board is required to be stewards of the money that goes through its coffers. And we see a misuse of fundings when we have spaces that are not being properly used. Holly Shelter with 300 available seats, and then we have other schools that have the trailers up. That's a misuse of money. We also read in the paper that we have infrastructure in our schools, roofs that are going, weight rooms that have asbestos laying around. We need to do a financial audit. If our goal here is to educate students, then we need to say, what is the money being spent for, and how does that directly relate to student outcome? And we need to put that on a scale and say, yes, good, clean environments contribute to student outcome. Therefore, move into a new school, don't keep a kid in a trailer. And we need to make those kind of decisions. Even though they may not be popular, we have to make them because they're judicious, they're economically sound, and they're good business. Thank you.
Where you're from.
My name is Catherine Fleming. I'm from New Hanover County. I am a biomechanist by trade, but I'm the mother of a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. So my 7-year-old is in the public school system, and my 4-year-old will be soon. I heard each of the candidates identify important qualities that make a successful teacher, as well as unique challenges that the socioeconomically advantaged and disadvantaged face. if we were to go back to busing for diversity, socioeconomic diversity within the public school system, my question is, how would you propose that each teacher could design an educational program to address the widely varying needs of these two different student populations within the same classroom? Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Thompson.
I think kids have more in common than they have in difference, even if they can't read. A good teacher, my mother started out teaching in a one-room schoolhouse where she worked with children that were 4 years old up through 18, and those children succeeded. There are certainly ways for a skilled teacher to work with children that are diverse, have different kind of lapses in their learning. One of the ways children learn best is from each other. So a child can sit beside a child and help somebody else learn, and that gives that child that's teaching tremendous sense of esteem. That helps that child say, I really can do something important. And the child who's learning probably learns better because they're learning in a way that is in a vernacular that they understand. So we must not ever doubt the power of a great teacher to work with a diverse population of students and bring those students all to true educational excellence.
Comes from Susan Coleman, who is a homemaker. The question is, do you believe that New Hanover County schools are utilizing the Magnet Schools Assistance Program to the fullest extent possible?
Mr. Thompson, excuse me.
No, I do not believe that we're using the magnet school concept. The concept there was to be able to bring children together. Magnet schools were to support diversity. What we've done is create magnet schools that are now 94, 95% minority students. What we need to do is aggressively look at what the real magnet school model is, and that is we must market those schools. These are excellent schools. Freedom and Snipes are exciting places to learn, but because of the kind of disservice the board has done in this whole idea of redistricting, that they put a pallor over the opportunity for us as a community to come together and rally around unique learning experiences, like going to a school that has science and engineering or one that features arts. So we need to market that more fully. I think we have not exploited it the way we should, and I think the magnet school concept could work, but it's not working here yet.
Mr. Thompson.
I think our voters have a decision to make. They want to keep the current majority on the board that has brought the school system to its present state of challenge, or do we want to elect new members of the board that have energy, experience, and the power to work with the superintendent to bring about the positive change this community longs for? We have to realize that we want our students to gain the kind of skills that are going to allow them to get a job, raise a family, and be a good citizen and share the blessings of this great country. I want to thank WHQR and the Economic Development Council for making this possible.